All right, so we are live and welcome back after a short break with Verses and Vibes with Baker and Bash. We're back this week with Genesis 20. Last week we did Genesis 19. How you doing, Bash?
I'm good, man. Traveling a little bit, but I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So you've been doing a lot of traveling. Last week you were in Vegas.
Yeah, now I'm in Nashville. I'll be in Nashville this evening at least, right?
How did your show go last week?
I went to his show last week. I got a show on the
Okay.
30th. I got a show on the 30th in LA. I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it. Yeah, my
Okay.
first
That's
time
what's up.
performing like this.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead because I know you're outside of the at the airport. So we're gonna go ahead and start with Genesis 20. I'm gonna share my screen really quickly. Let's see here. Okay. Well, that doesn't work. I missed the TikTok studio where I could like make the screen big. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna read it really quickly. Um, from there, Abraham journeyed toward the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While residing in Gerar as an alien, Abraham said to his wife Sarah, "She is," said of his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." And King Abimelech of Gerar sent and took Sarah. Abraham with the pimping again. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "You are about to die because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a married woman." God is just like, hey, bruh, you about to die. Now, Abimelech had not approached her, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, 'She is my sister?' And she herself said, 'He is my brother.' I did this in the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands." Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart. Furthermore, furthermore, it was I who kept you from sinning against me." That's kind of interesting. That sentence right there is very interesting. "Therefore, I did not let you touch her." Ooh, okay. "Now then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all that are yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you that you have brought such great guilt on me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that ought not to be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What are you thinking that you did this thing?" Abraham said, "I did it because I thought, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'This is the kindness you must do me. At every place to which we come, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham and restored his wife Sarah to him. Abimelech said, 'My land is before you, settle where it pleases you.' To Sarah he said, 'Look, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is your exoneration before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated.' Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and also healed his wife and female slaves so that they bore children. For the Lord had closed fast all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife." What a load of cock. I'm sorry, but this story, every time I read this story, it pisses me off a bit. Hey, TT, what's up, Val Val? Is it, hold on, I said it wrong. Valav. What's up, Chiquita Banana? Bash, what happened to you? Are you on the, did you leave? Oh, I can't hear you.
I hit mute because I was in the airport. I didn't want the background noise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm here. Was that the end of the chapter?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the end of it.
Yeah, two things. Well, okay, again, you can obviously see the doublet there, right? You can already see that. Where's my little thing? You can obviously see the doublet. We've already told this story one time before, basically word for word, right? Except this time, instead of it being the Pharaoh, it's Abimelech, right? What I always ask this question about this particular thing: how long was she down there? And I'm like, how long was she with Abimelech? Because it would seem as though,
Yeah.
right, if
Yeah.
she was down there long enough for God to close up some wounds, was it just closed for a day?
I read something online that said Abimelech and Sarah did the deed.
Uh, maybe this is a redaction of that story. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what
I
it says.
think so. But
But yeah,
like,
that don't make a lot of sense.
huh?
That don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But he said he didn't touch her, so I don't know. But because Fee, this is the crazy thing. The thing that stands out to me the most in the story, although this isn't like a an adorable story. This is worse than when she went into Pharaoh's house. The God says, "I stopped you from sinning against me."
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, which means Abraham had set Buddy up for the kill.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
also God can stop people from sinning, right?
yeah. But I wonder how he stopped him. Oh, but just by the threat. Was the threat to stop?
Who,
Or
Abimelech?
yeah, but was the threat to kill him to stop, or was it like he didn't let his young get? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did he stop him? Like, was it the threat to say, "Hey, don't do that," or was it like he was going to go do it and couldn't quite get prepared?
I don't know how he stopped them, but the fact that he did, like when we have conversations with believers all the time,
Just
they
check it in.
say that God doesn't want
Yes, ma'am.
to interfere with free will,
So,
and that, huh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
Sorry about that. I was the lady at the boarding play escalator was talking to me.
Oh, um, I was saying that when we have conversations with believers all the time, they say that God doesn't want to interfere with free will, right? And that He can't stop people from sinning, or like He wouldn't be a good God if He did that, or a just God if He did that. But here in this situation, He literally tells Abimelech, who is not an Israelite, who is a Philistine, right? They're in Gerar, however you pronounce it, which is Philistine territory, right? He stops the Philistine from sinning against the God. But this guy couldn't stop his people from sinning against him to the point where he had to send his son to die. Like, this doesn't make that one line there.
It doesn't add up. But see, that's the thing. When you're cobbling together a story, you just need to be able to explain a few things, right? You need to be able to explain a few things. You need to be able to keep. I'm just trying to figure out, did this story happen twice? That's issue one, right? But keep in mind, both of the groups of people that they have this kind of beef with, the Egyptians and the Philistines, they both have this very same origin story. That makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
okay, we don't really rock with the Egyptians. We don't really rock with these folk over here, but they have this. They both have this same little backstory. Well, one time Abraham was in town, and then they almost slept with Sarah, right? Well, uh, come on, man. Like, come on, dog. Like, this seems. Of course, this is one of those etiologies that's okay. Well, why do we behave this way here, or why do we behave this way with this group of people? Right? And once you get internally into it, it's like, okay, again, the idea of there being some free will age or some free will giver doesn't show up till much later on, right? As a matter of fact, I don't read that anywhere in the book. That's just um an apologetic that people make because otherwise it doesn't make sense for there to be an all powerful God and you still be able to do wrong things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, from a Christian perspective, right? This is one of the reasons why I hate the reinterpretations of the text, because of stuff like this, and it just feels completely dishonest, right? And it brings up questions about, why would the God have to send His Son to die later on if He could stop people from sinning,
You know what?
right?
Yeah. I thought we was reading. I don't know what story I thought was in 20. I just didn't remember this story. I don't know what I thought was reading, but yeah, if he could have stopped this from, this is just completely inefficient. That's what I was saying the other day. Right? This is completely inefficient. If he could just not do this, we could just like, how do we go through all this? Right?
Exactly. Like he saved the Philistine king, right? Like he saved Abimelech from sinning. He's like, "Hey, bro, you about to die. You was about to kill yourself, homie." you know, you know what I'm saying? Like he stepped in like a homeboy. It
He could
was
have did.
like, "You about to die, bro,"
He could
because
have did this for Adam.
you got. You know what I'm saying?
He could have did this for Adam.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
This what I'm saying. Stuff like this is our conversations on Sunday. I promise you, it feeds my conversations for the week because what?
cause what?
Like it doesn't make sense. And then he's like, Abraham tells her, "Hey, he tells Abimelech, like, hey, she is my sister though. Like, I ain't lie to you because she's the daughter of my father, just not the daughter of my mama. And when God told me to leave her, I told her to come with me, and I was like, hey, you owe me this, okay? You owe me this since I'm bringing you with me. Everywhere we go, you got to say you're my sister. You got to let me pimp you out,
That's crazy.
ain't
Pimp,
it?
pimp my bride is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is so wild.
That's crazy.
Like what?
Yeah.
And then this is how he gets wealthy by pimping his wife,
Yeah.
his sister,
Yeah.
and then made her feel like you owe me this. You owe me to let me pimp you out.
Look at Chicago, John.
What is he saying?
Look at what he said. Who we pimping? I'm just Chicago. When they let you get a YouTube account, why did they do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sick of y'all so bad.
Chicago's crazy.
Crazy. But yeah. You owe me. That's a weird thing to tell somebody. Owe me to let. That's crazy. Sister
Yeah,
wife.
and huh?
Having a sister wife is crazy too. That's crazy.
Because later on, the God says that this is a sin for to sleep with your sister, whether
Yeah.
it be the sister of your father or the sister of your mother. But here, Abraham's marriage with Sarah is blessed, right?
Tremendously blessed at that.
Yeah, and this is who Isaac comes from,
Yeah.
right? And then I found out that David's mom is the daughter. Uh, no, David's father is the grandson of Ruth and Boaz.
Yeah. Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So David is part Moabite.
Yeah.
And so the Moabites come from Lot,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which would make Jesus part Moabite
Part more about
and make Jesus the seed of Lot because his father is from Ruth.
fathers from Ruth. Yep. Obed. Jesse. That's Jesse. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So
Yeah.
here we have Abraham and Sarah, incestual relationship, the blessed. And then King David, who comes from the incestual relationship between Lot and his two daughters, right? He
Yeah.
comes from
Yeah.
that line. So
Yeah.
you have of the two of the we have a patriarch and then you have the King David,
Yeah.
who both come from incestual relationships.
And when you get to Judah specifically, that's my favorite chapter everywhere. I think that's 38, where you find out how the tribe of Judah was started. Then also Rahab is in that bunch. He came from a weird. You know what I'm saying? He came from it was a weird case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came from a
I,
weird background.
I think like thinking back about how Judah, right? Because we know Genesis is about Judah, right? And Abraham Abraham's story is used to tie the North and the South together, right?
Yeah,
Thinking about how small Judah used to be. I think it even talks about there's a prophecy about the small town of Bethlehem, and then later on Matthew changes that prophecy to talk about how the Messiah would come from the great Bethlehem, right?
right,
But the Messiah was supposed to come from like the small town that nobody cares about.
right.
Um,
Anything
you
good
know,
come out of Nazareth and all that.
yeah. And so I think like I just wonder what the whole incestual thing has to do with the overall story because to me it just seems really opposite of what the God commanded, because he had a law that said that this was forbidden. Yet the two most blessed marriages, or two most blessed people, come from ancestral relationships
Mm, I never
in
really
the
thought
Old
about that as a
Testament. You
thread.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I never really thought about it as like a through line.
Yeah, like what is that about? Like what message is that sending? Like the purpose
Hold on,
of
just one
that.
second. One second.
I agree. The entire sin thing does not make sense. But y'all know me. When these questions come up, my ass will be researching for days because I need to know. I need to know why the incest and why these two were the most blessed. Like that's a question that I have. Thank you, TT.
My bad, my bad. Unless
It's
we're
all
trying to
good.
establish this idea of, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, sorry about that. Later on, because you're really trying to create like this kind of separatist idea, right? Um, that we don't fool with other folk. We don't. Um, what am I trying to say? Like we don't mix with other people, right? You remember because when Samson gets ready to take Delilah, or it's like okay, don't deal with nobody outside of us, right? So maybe you just establishing that early.
With the incest?
I mean, yeah. If ultimately,
It could be like the pure blood, the like
yeah,
that type of thing, like the humperdew.
yeah,
The
Humperdoo. That's
humperdew.
literally what I was about to say. I was about to say Dumbledore. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember the
But
nigga name.
but David says, like, I was born in iniquity, shaped, conceived in sin in my mother's womb. Right.
Yeah.
So David saw his Moabite blood as like iniquity because of the incest that came from Lot and his two daughters. Right. But of course, Christians use that to say that that leads back to Adam and Eve. But if he's talking about being conceived in sin in his mother's womb, according to a Jewish tradition, his mother, who was an Israelite,
Yeah.
switched with his father at the last minute. His father was trying to do Canaanite blood, right? Like his father was trying to sleep with a Canaanite slave woman so he could create a child of full Moabite blood, and the mother switched with her husband at the last minute. She made a plan with the Canaanite slave, switched with the slave at the last minute, and that's how David was conceived.
Kind of like Jacob and Esau.
Yeah, yeah. And so his brothers didn't like him. Remember that, like he was not liked,
Yeah.
and so that according to Jewish theology, that's why David says that he was shaped in iniquity, right? Because of the Moabite blood in him, and then conceived in sin in his mother's womb because his mother switched with the Canaanite slave at the last moment.
Mm.
Yeah. And so,
That's such
but
a crazy
Christians
thought.
use that scripture to say, oh, that's because of Adam and Eve. And he's saying that everybody's born in sin.
But he was saying he particularly was born in sin.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of the incest.
I got something so inappropriate I want to say, but I don't want to get us banned. But I'm gonna tell you a
You
joke in the end part.
know, it's hard for you to not say stuff.
I'm working on it, man. I'm gonna grow up one day. I'm gonna grow up one day. It's horrible though. Yeah, but yeah. So this whole idea of this, um, and I don't even know if this is on purpose because sometimes when you read stories like, oh Jesus Christ.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry about that. I don't know if this is on purpose or if I'm reading back into the story like from 2024, but this seems like, and take this out as will. Again, this seems like family business at this point. Like this seems like, hey, if you ever run low on some money, you know what I'm saying? Like if you ever
Yeah,
really
because
need,
he taught it to Isaac.
yeah, like this, it seems like you promoting this at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you ever in trouble, man, and you got a sister or a wife or anything like that on you, and you like what? Like,
Yeah. There is a pastor's sermon online that talks about how God blessed Abraham through pimping Sarah, and God wants his people to be rich too, and that we shouldn't see what Abraham did by pimping Sarah out as a sinful thing, but see that that was Sarah's duty, and that God used Sarah to financially bless Abraham, and that's how God wants His people blessed too.
Sometimes I believe there is a God. Sometimes I really do, and I'm gonna tell you why I believe that. Because if there wasn't, I feel like I would have been in that church that day, and I would have knocked him the fuck out. And I feel like God protected that man from that. God shielded him. He wouldn't let it be.
Of course, it was an evangelical church too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like yeah, but that's yeah. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, this is weird. Like how they're preaching it, to that congregation. This God wants His people to be wealthy, just like Father Abraham. It's like,
Wow,
huh, this is why.
wow,
Because the message is given that way.
wow. Like at some point you have to ask, like, is there no bottom? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how low are we willing to go with these ideas? Like when you talk about pimping your sister, can we get worse than that?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that the
we
worst
can.
idea we're gonna have today?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
pimping your
because
sister is
remember,
hard.
God could have saved that pastor from writing that sermon, but He didn't.
He didn't.
God is in the business of saving Philistines and
Clearly,
not Israelites or Christian believers, but He will save a Philistine from sinning.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
And
just
then
when
He's
you,
like, I know you have a heart of integrity. Abimelech is like, wait, I did this out of integrity, right? Like,
yeah, I wasn't trying to be on nobody wife, sister, swife, uh, whister. What you call it? Is it a whister or a swife? When
twice.
you
What's a whister?
a whister is when it's your wife and your sister at the same time, or it's also called a swife. Swife when it's your sister and your wife at the same
It's
time.
just whister, then
A
I guess.
swister. Oh, it's a swister.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, your swister. Yeah, like how that man didn't know that man swister.
Yeah. It's crazy. And the way they talk about it, like she's property, she's straight property,
Yeah,
right? And then he's like, here is another moot, 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 right? If you don't give her back, you shall surely die,
yep. Die,
right?
die, die.
Die, die, die. So here's another time where the God is very adamant that, it's a physical death. It's not a
Yep.
spiritual death.
He was gonna die in the spirit.
His and everybody. The women damn near did die in the spirit because he punished all the women in the kingdom for
Close they
what
want.
Abraham did, and closed off their wounds and said that they could no longer give life because of what Abraham did, but
How
blamed it
long?
on Sarah.
How
Although
long was they
Abraham
there?
said, "You owe me this."
Yeah, how long was she there? I really want to know that. Like, how long was Sarah there? Because how would you even know that their wounds was closed? Like, how? You know what I'm saying? Like, that seems like something you would have to know. You feel me? Like, just because you didn't get pregnant last night, don't mean your womb closed.
I don't know. Maybe it was painful. Maybe I don't know. Maybe when it happened because God uses magic, all the women in the kingdom just started like crying out, and they had like really really bad cramps.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, very very horrible. Then he says Abimelech got healed too. So it didn't say what he did to Abimelech, but Abimelech got healed too. Um, and then he gives Abraham male and female slaves, sheep and oxen, right?
1,000 pieces of silver is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's
But that's what he gave to Sarah. No, no, no. He told Sarah, I gave that to your brother. That's right.
yeah,
To
that's
exonerate Sarah
that's a
for some
lot of money.
shit she didn't do.
She didn't even do.
She didn't even do it.
That's like 333 slaves. 330 slaves.
It's
You get a,
crazy.
you get a slave for 30 pieces of silver.
But once again, in this story, women are taking the blame for what men did.
Yep, yep, yep. It's a wild piece of work. It's a wild
Yeah.
place to work. No, 33 slaves. I said that wrong. Yeah, 33 slaves. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And the fact that that seems like it just seemed very. It almost feels like a hustle, right? Like I'm gonna send you in here, and then we're gonna pull the trigger at the last moment. Then we're gonna walk out with the money. It seemed like a hustle. Somebody should have rolled up on Abraham and shot him for that.
It very much was a hustle. That's how he got his wealth.
Yeah,
Instead of like, why didn't? And I think too, we can see the whole foreigner type thing because he was an alien in uh, is it Garar?
Garage, which means
Garar,
stranger. Oh,
huh?
Gur means stranger. No, not Garage.
Yeah,
Gur means stranger.
Yeah. But this is the crazy thing too. So, in studying Israel Finkelstein's book, we started our sub only classes for that. Yesterday was the first.
I missed it. I was running around.
Huh?
I missed it. I was running around.
Yeah, I gotta upload them to the drive so people who can watch the replays. But so Israel Finkelstein talks about how Abraham is used in Genesis to kind of tie the North and the South together, and that's why the writers um, have Abraham pitching altars and giving sacrifices at Bethel and what's the other? What is
I
the
remember,
one in the
not
north?
Shiloh.
Huh?
What Shiloh was? No, not Shiloh.
No, I think it's sure. Give me just a second because I'm gonna forget. Hold on. It is. He did. Shakim. I knew it started with an S, and I'm looking at
Shikim.
Shur, and I'm like, it's not Shur. Shakim. So he's
Mm-hmm.
pitching altars at Bethel and Shechem throughout the Genesis narrative,
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying that that's to tie the North and the South together, right?
Okay.
And the mention of Salem, which is Jerusalem with Melchizedek, is kind of like mentioning Washington D.C. before, like pre-colonial times,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so we see it here too with the anachronism of Gerar, because the Philistines were not even really a nation until like the 8th and 7th century. So
Right.
like Abraham couldn't have been like, this story could not have happened. Of course, it's because it mimics Egypt, and then Isaac does it as well. But I think the reason that it's written is what I'm interested in, like what was the author of this story really trying to tell? Because the Philistines were not even a people during this time that Abraham would have been traveling with Sarah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, and it kind of puts them in a decent light too, right? Like this one of the few times you're gonna see Philistines looked at this way,
Hmm.
right? Most of the time, the Philistines are kind of othered and dehumanized and blah blah blah. But in this one, Abimelech was a pretty decent dude.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. So it's a lot to research uh and try to figure out like what is the story trying to tell as far as Judah goes, right?
yeah,
And then I could kind of see how it's trying to weave Abraham and Sarah as the biblical patriarch and matriarch of the Israelite story. I see
yeah.
why that's there, but why paint the Israelites as God being able to stop, I mean, not the Israelites, the Philistines, as the God being able to stop the Philistines from sinning, right? Other times, like the God spirit goes on to Samson and sends him to kill.
That the Philistines,
Yeah,
same folk. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I'm trying to. You know what I need to get? I said I was gonna buy one. I might see if I can stop by a Bible store while I'm down here in Nashville. I want to get a JEDP Bible.
Oh, go Church Street. It's at the Baptist bookstore.
About this bookstore. Yeah,
Yeah, it's on Church
yeah,
Street.
yeah. I
Yeah.
might try to grab one because I would like to know what source they think what they think this source is coming from. because maybe that might help me understand why they're framing it this way or who framing it this way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because right now that's a bit weird, right?
Huh?
That I would say right now it's a bit weird that Abimelech was like a man of integrity and feared God, and you feel what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's a weird way to paint a Philistine.
I agree. I agree. And so I know one of my questions tonight is going to be geared around the God is able to stop people from sinning.
Mm, that'd be good.
And there's no telling what else is going to come from that because now I'm about to go down a rabbit hole the way I do.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good question. But I sent you a text. I get the time at like 6:30. You want to grab something to eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hit you when I land. I'm
Okay.
finna go. I'm gonna go check in.
All right, sounds good. All right, y'all. This was all for today. Thank y'all so much for showing up. Make sure you share. Like, thank you, TT, for supporting the live and promoting it. We will see y'all later on tonight. Y'all have a good
Yeah,
one.
y'all be good.
All right.